Are you a big Halloweenie? Do you baby out when the scary stuff comes on? Do you enjoy the spooky season but can't put up with all the spooky? Well, this is Noah's big Halloween list for Halloweenie babies. Roll the intro.
No, wait, stop. This feels personal. This feels like an attack.
I said, roll the intro.
This
Roll the
feels
intro,
like
Joe.
an attack, and I want to
Hey,
talk about it.
Joe, when you're editing, roll the intro. Welcome to 21st Century Cinema, the podcast about film and the film industry.
I don't have any job anymore.
Welcome to 21st Century Cinema, the podcast about film and the film industry. I'm a very sick Noah Shepard, coming to you straight from Newfoundland. I'm joined by a bunch of dirty mainlanders. Joining me first, the Halloweenie baby himself, Joseph Delavecchia.
I knew
How
that
are you,
intro was
Joe?
personal. Hi, Noah.
How you
I'm
doing,
great.
Joe?
Noah, before we go any further with this episode, because you've just hijacked the intro, I guess that means you don't know to tell the viewers that our last episode is not making it to air because the audio is all fucked to all good hell on it.
That's fine. We didn't talk about anything.
We did talk about our lives and what's been going on. I feel like we should still talk about that.
It's probably kind of boring.
Fine, I'll do a summary. Noah did a lot of freaking drama in plays this summer.
I did.
His writing debut. He's been dabbling in some directing, which has been really, really great for him. And he's going to be working on more things in the future. And next year, he's going to have a more permanent role at a theater festival, I guess you could call it. That's what's going on with him. He's still at the radio station. You can listen to him there. Links down below, hyperlinked. I got engaged and I'm planning a wedding. I'm also living up north for a little bit.
Shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that was boring and nothing. That's actually really big. Oh God. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Congratulations again, Joe.
You done?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got engaged. As longtime listeners of the podcast know that our other co-host, Ava, I've been dating her sister for a long time, longer than I've known Noah Shepard, but not as long as I've known Noah Shafir, who is joining us today. Hi, Noah.
Hello.
Yeah, and me and Ava started the podcast, and that's how we knew each other, and that's that whole story. And we're coming up on 5 years. It's exciting. We're sorry that we've been gone for 6 months. We did try to only make it 5, but that didn't really work out in our favor. My apologies also to Jamie Rabanel, whose TIFF review from this year will not see the light of day because the audio is just a mess. But we've taken precautions to have backup audio this time, so this episode is definitely going to make it out. It's a Halloween episode, so you'll probably see it in early December.
Yay! We love dating ourselves. Oh, that's one thing that we lost from the last episode is that I heavily dated it.
Yes, Noah did it. Every
times.
single thing we said, Noah had to point out when we were recording.
Yeah, we are recording on October 26th, by the way.
Please.
2021, not 2022. Put out our Halloween episode a year late. Hey, it's been almost 2 years and I still haven't released the Snyder Cut episode.
That's fine. That's fine.
I put in so much work for that.
And you know what, Noah? So did I. But Noah Shepard said he would try and edit it for me, and he never even attempted. And that's why it's sat in edit bay.
That's because I was really sick when we did that episode too.
Oh my gosh! Hey, guess what? You haven't been really sick for the last 2 years now, have you?
You don't know what's been happening.
Yes, all right. I do know what's going on with you.
I think I think I make Sheppard sick. I think that's what I've learned.
I think so. Yeah. Two Noahs can't exist in the same space.
No, of course not.
It's like when you meet when you time travel and you meet your past self and it causes a time rift. That's what's happening.
Oh, that would be so unfortunate if you had your time travel story and then the paradox that it is not just the universe ends. It's just one of you gets really sick.
Yeah, it's just you get a bad case of the sniffles.
Okay, wait. Does this mean that one of you is the older version of the other?
Maybe.
And if so, who is it? Because Noah Shepard looks older than Shafir, but Shafir is older than Noah Shepard by many, many years.
I don't know what's going to happen to me in the next couple of years.
I'm now concerned over the fact that it has to be couched in many, many years.
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
old.
What's that? What's that about?
Schaefer is wait. I know this.
Oh no.
Schaefer's birthday is in less than a month. It's coming up in a few weeks.
Woo.
And you are turning. I'm 23, so Noah is turning 27 this year.
So close.
26.
Yes.
26. Okay, I'm like, it's 26 or 27. Okay, so you're turning 26 this year, and Noah Sheppard, you are 22.
I am currently 22. Yes, my age follows the year.
Well, well, well.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just be the old man.
There you go. There you go, Joe. You killed
Mhm.
Schaefer.
Yep.
You happy about it?
You know
Look,
what?
he's been trying to do that for years.
That's fair.
Oh,
by the way, Noah Schaefer's here.
Yeah, Noah Schaefer's here.
Hello.
Noah, I've talked to you. I talk to you like almost every single day. It's always good to talk to you. But our listeners and Noah Sheppard, they haven't heard from you in, God, it's been a while. When was the last time we had you on?
Well, it was going to be the Snyder Cut episode, however.
Okay, you were on afterwards too, because you've scolded me on air about the Snyder Cut episode multiple times now. I think you were on last Halloween. I think it's been about a year.
Was I here for last Halloween?
I think you were.
I don't even remember. I remember. Okay, we did the Snyder Cut episode, which is directors, and then there was the Q&A episode. Was that after or before Snyder Cut?
That was before Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah, I guess that was
because that was just me, you, and Ava. Noah wasn't even an
Yeah.
official full-time host at the time.
Oh God,
Noah.
If we have to really, this is something that we mentioned in the Snyder Cut. We need to be better about referring to Sheppard or Schaefer because we can't just say Noah.
We do. I'm looking at our episodes right now because now I'm genuinely curious. So much for having a clean episode where I wouldn't have to make any edits. Oh well.
It's fine.
Yeah, I've edited out all my coughing anyway. Every single cough has to be edited.
And look, we'll get into the Halloweeny baby stuff for you, Joe, because you need it.
That's true.
That's true.
This was all made for you, Joe. You should feel honored.
Wow, Noah Shafir. It's actually been longer than that. We haven't seen Noah Shafir since Director's Cuts, which was December 2020. It's been almost 2 years.
Right. Okay. So in my brain, I got a little bit confused because yes, I remember doing the Snyder Cut episode, but then I remember conflating it with when the Snyder Cut news came out was when we did the Director's Cut episode.
Yes.
So we weren't, and I was conflating the two in my head.
Yeah, that's right. In my life, that was 2 houses ago.
Sheppard
moves a lot.
You need to stop with that nomadic lifestyle.
I don't. It's not by choice. They keep selling the house we're living in. I hate renting.
That's what happens when you live out in hillbilly country, my friend.
I live in a city.
Hillbilly
but
country.
you live in a city on an island.
Yeah, that's fair.
Far, far away.
That's fair.
But my point that I was trying to get at was that, Schaefer, we haven't seen you in a while, so why don't you tell the listeners what you've been up to? Because I know you've had some exciting life changes.
Oh, well, I mean, since then I've moved. So I'm now in the cultural center of Canada, I guess. Technically, it's what it is.
Which ironically isn't even our capital, but yeah.
No, it's what everyone thinks is our capital. But yeah, I'm living in Toronto. I've been doing
Toronto is a city in the province of Ontario, just in case you
did
geography out in hillbilly country.
I lived.
You lived in Oakville, buddy. Calm down.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
You lived in old rich white people neighborhood.
Nah, you see, nobody gives here's one thing that you friggin' Ontarians don't understand.
Oh,
you either live in Niagara, Toronto, or Ottawa, or in Sudbury. Those are the 4 you get. Maybe Thunder Bay. There might be 5.
Fuck Thunder Bay. I was in Thunder Bay this summer. God, that place is awful.
There you go. You get 5.
The first 3 places that you named, it hurts because that's where that's where you said Niagara. That's my like where I'm from. You said Ottawa, which is where my brother moved to, and then there's Toronto where I'm living in. I feel attacked.
Yeah, see, that's it. Any other place you live in Mississauga? No, you fucking don't. You live in Toronto.
It's okay, Noah. The small little town up north where I'm living, no one knows where it is, so I just tell people I live outside of Ottawa. You kind of hit
There
the
you
nail
go.
on the head.
See? This is what I'm talking about. And everybody in Newfoundland lives in St. John's or Corner Brook. Or maybe Gander, depending on if they've seen Come From Away. Yeah.
Oh, anyhow, I'm living in Toronto. I'm living my freelance lifestyle. Just doing all that kind of stuff, living off of commissions and other graphic work. Always fun. I'm part of a storytelling collective, I guess we kind of call ourselves. Where I do live shows every Monday.
I'm sorry. Is this your Twitch thing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I thought for a second you were like on stage somewhere and you hadn't told me, and I'm like,
Well,
I'm
no.
coming.
Well, actually, we are planning on trying to do more in person, and actually going to try and do some things on a stage of sorts. So stay tuned.
Is it going to be like improv? Are you going to be a plane ticket again?
No, I'm not going to be a plane ticket again.
My favorite thing you've ever done.
Oy vey. Anyhow, it's funnily enough, it is still with one of the people that was in that scene.
Noah Shafir, I need to send you a video link later of Noah Shafir in an improv theater being a plane ticket. That's actually a little boy.
My name is Philip.
I'm good.
That's fair. It's not great.
It's fantastic.
Anyways, those are the things that I've kind of been up to. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
No, that's great.
Would you like me to tell you some words of wisdom before we get started, Noah?
Which Noah?
Which one?
Shafir.
Okay, say Shafir or Sheppard, Joe. I keep saying it.
Shafir, would you like to hear some words of wisdom before we get started?
I'd love to.
It's not just a mint. It's a Tic Tac.
Lord alive.
I'm eating a Tic Tac right now.
I'm sure everybody's enjoying that inside joke. I'm sure every single person in the audience really enjoyed it.
There was no inside joke. I'm literally eating a Tic Tac right now,
so
I said the slogan. There's no inside joke.
Is that their slogan? That's a bad slogan.
Not just a mint. It's a Tic Tac.
That's not catchy at all.
No, it's just a true fact, though.
What marketing whiz came up with that? Joe, you should get a contract with Tic Tacs and give them a slogan that's not awful.
Oh, yeah, I started a new job. That's another thing that's cut out of the last episode.
Joe now subscribes to capitalism. All right, let's start the episode.
What?
All right.
Thank you both for joining me.
No, it's your episode. Go ahead.
Yeah. So today we're looking at a special curated list made by me of movies and series that are basically designed to give you that Halloween feel, because everybody loves the Halloween feel. Even if you don't like the holiday, everybody kind of enjoys that feeling. But this won't give you big spooky dreams at night. So this was inspired by Joe not enjoying horror movies, but I want him to have fun at Halloween. So I made him this list. So we're going to basically talk about the movie, what we like, what we didn't like, and then give it 3 scores. I did not tell you guys this, so this will be your genuine reactions. You're going to rate it on Halloween-ness, so how Halloween-y it is, how actually spooky it is, like will it give you nightmares, and the overall quality. So like, did you like it? Do you think it's a good movie? What worked? What didn't? But that'll just be all 1 to 10, and we'll have covered most of that in our discussion anyway.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, I want to give a disclaimer first. I don't not like horror movies because I'm scared of them, as Noah Sheppard is trying to put out here. I have watched horror movies before. I find all horror movies bland, boring, and not offering anything new or exciting, and I find them extremely predictable and not actually scary. They don't do their job.
You're not watching the right horror movies.
Well, I've watched a lot.
I don't know. Which ones you watching?
I've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. I've seen Scream. Obviously, it's one of the ones we're going to talk about. I have seen what's that one with the Halloween ones? That's the one with Jason, right?
No, that's
Michael Myers.
That's Mike Myers. Sorry, that's Mike Myers.
Michael Myers.
Whatever. I've seen what's that one that Noah likes? The Evil Dead. That's
Evil Dead's fucking awesome.
It is,
dude. It was made. It was made so long ago. Of course it's not scary anymore. They made it on a fucking shoestring budget, and it still looks great. That's the whole point.
I know. We
It's
did
the
this in director's cut.
appreciation.
We did this in
All
director's
did.
cut.
All right.
We
All right.
did.
Okay.
My point is that horror movies aren't scary, and that's why I find them pointless. They don't do their job, so why should I do my job and watch them?
Other than Evil Dead, and even Evil Dead kind of, you've only mentioned slasher movies.
Okay, I've also seen psychological thrillers, like everything Jordan Peele has made. I've seen almost
Those are
everything
thrillers,
Alfred
though.
Hitchcock has made.
Okay, Hitchcock's good.
I love Hitchcock, but I don't
Yeah,
think his
there you
movies are
go.
scary, but I don't consider them horror films. That's the
They
thing.
don't have to be scary.
I've seen The Purge. I actually like The Purge election year, the third one.
I saw that
What?
one. Wait, no, I saw First Purge. What? How do you like that one?
Election year, have you watched it? It's actually like an entertaining thriller. It's not like, oh my god, best movie ever, but compared to the first three Purge films, the third one is pretty decent, and the first two are absolute crap.
I love Joe coming out in this episode and just coming out of the gate with just the coldest takes you've ever heard.
I'm pretty sure I gave that movie like an 8 out of 10 too.
Oh my god! All right, let's
All
talk
right,
about.
we
some
have to get
good
into
movies.
this.
So the first.
Do I
oh,
contest your list now or after?
what?
After.
Where was Nightmare Before Christmas? Why wasn't there at least one Treehouse of Horror?
Because Nightmare Before Christmas is about Christmas. It's a
It's about-
Christmas
it's a-
movie for goths.
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah, but it's
The
a
point
Christmas
is, I
movie for
would have
goths.
rather
You watch
talked
it in
about
November.
Nightmare Before Christmas instead of any of these other films.
Oh,
I actually am
okay.
excited to talk about Coraline though. But anyways, go ahead.
Okay, we'll save that one for later then. All right, why don't we start off with a classic, and let's go with Great Pumpkin. Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. What a movie! What a
truly is.
classic! Noah, why don't you kick us off? What do you think about Great Pumpkin?
Well, I mean, I love It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, because I've always been a huge sucker for the Peanuts, for the whole Peanuts kind of franchise. I've always been huge on Snoopy and Charlie, like the whole bit. And I remember like being very young and watching TV. Obviously, a young kid watching TV in Canada, obviously watching YTV.
Of course.
And I remember always being excited when It's a Great Pumpkin came on, because I absolutely love. I've always also with Peanuts. Linus has always been my favorite for the fact that he always seems like the most rational kind of character, but then when you face him with the Great Pumpkin and he's just this weird culty kid, and I've
It's
always
great.
loved that.
It's such a great dynamic.
It really is, because it really shows the funny juxtaposition between his usual demeanor and how he gets to the holiday, which is something I've always really kind of felt with when it comes to Halloween, because I always love this season. I always have.
Yeah, I think, the Great Pumpkin just feels like a warm drink. You know what I mean? Like, the Great Pumpkin, it's just cozy. And I think that's one of the things that's underrated about, like, Halloween and fall, is that it doesn't all have to be spooky. Half of the time, it's just having fun indoors. And I think Great Pumpkin really inspires that.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, it's helped by the fact that it's cozy visuals with the really gorgeous kind of watercolor backgrounds that you get with it. The really nice simple animation that you have with it, mixed in with the always brilliant Vince Guaraldi like music along with it. That just simple jazz kind of that jazz underlining everything that's kind of going on. Absolutely.
Just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Joe, here to shit on this parade?
Noah, can I tell you something?
Which Noah?
I'm assuming
Sheppard. Both of you,
Yeah.
but mainly Sheppard.
Okay.
You want to know my honest thoughts about the Great Pumpkin?
Yeah.
I can describe them by telling you one fun fact about me. I
Okay.
own one Squishmallow.
Yes.
Oh,
that's adorable. That's adorable.
So
Yay.
I grew up watching Peanuts, guys. I don't know if you guys know this.
Yay.
My
Yeah,
grandmother
yay.
had the
He has
original
a
VHS.
soul.
Yeah,
He
let me tell my
has
story.
a soul.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
sure.
hear.
My grandmother had the original VHSs, so whenever I went over to her house, like all the time after school or on weekends, I always played like the Charlie Brown VHSs, and she had all of them. And so, of course, I grew up watching Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown Christmas, the regular episodes in general. Like I absolutely love Peanuts. So yeah, Snoopy is one of my favorite animated characters. I grew up just loving Snoopy. Probably like the only dog I like is Snoopy the dog.
Including your dog.
I hate Ezio. We all know I hate
Hey.
Ezio.
He's a sweet boy.
But yeah, no. So I absolutely love and adore Snoopy, and yeah, my mom actually bought me that Snoopy Squishmallow. But yeah, that's my so no. You come to Great Pumpkin. I of course love it so much. It's very much a piece of nostalgia for me. Like you said, the watercolored backgrounds are absolutely beautiful. It's so well done. What I like about Peanuts is that when I was a kid, I had a hard time watching older animated things. I don't know why, but like some animation styles that were older just really freaked me out as a kid. Like was it called Raccoons? I think there was like a show from the 80s called like Raccoons, I think it was, and I couldn't watch that because it freaked me out. Inspector Gadget, his nose freaked me out. Scooby-Doo was fine. But yeah, but no, there were just like some old like cartoons. Like I could watch like Looney Tunes, all that stuff, but like yeah, some old cartoons like freaked me out and I couldn't watch it. But like, you know, you think Peanuts being like the oldest one, I couldn't watch it. But no, I absolutely like could so easily watch it. I loved it so much. I loved all the characters. Snoopy, Woodstock, Charlie, Lucy, Schroeder. His name's Schroeder, right? Yeah, his name's Schroeder. Pigpen, like I don't know. It's just a very big part of my entire childhood. I love it. I love the movie. I think it's very true to just Linus as a character, like Noah was saying. Just, you know, he loves the holiday, but then he's confronted with the actual Great Pumpkin. Yeah, I grew up on this. I've seen it a million times. So when Noah said we're doing Great Pumpkin, I'm like, oh, I will have something positive to say. Yeah, but I always love Peanuts for being wholesome and telling these really great stories. And, you know, it keeps with its own little tropes and everything that are just really charming. And yeah, I could never grow old or grow out of Peanuts, I guess. So here's my little Joe, you have a heart thing, is that I absolutely love everything to do with the Peanuts. And Great Pumpkin is no exception to that.
That's adorable.
That is very nice, and I'm glad. Actually, though, it's something that like hearing you talking about it and then talking about the movie itself and things that happen in it, because I mean it is more kind of a series of vignettes and singular stories that kind of just
But so is like Charlie Brown Christmas and everything else. Like
yeah. But what I like, something that I really like about how Great Pumpkin does it. Like, I really like all the individual storylines. I love the whole, like, there's the Halloween party kind of bit, Lucy, and then you have Linus, obviously, with the Great Pumpkin, all that jazz. What I really like, I love that this movie takes the opportunity with Snoopy to go for... I've always been a sucker for the World War I flying ace stuff.
The Red Baron.
The Red Baron and all that. I love that this movie takes that time to go into that little thing for Snoopy. And I think it's really fascinating. I think it's just fascinating when you think about it, because then when you really think about what's going on, the fact that Snoopy is like, he's fantasizing about World War I, and it's just like, wait a second, this is actually a little bit,
yeah, no, it's weird. It's weird.
But like, it's fun and charming, and it totally fits that world, which is the funny and fun part of it.
I love the lore behind Snoopy and Woodstock, that like, you know, Snoopy didn't want anything to do with him, but Woodstock didn't have any family to go back to, and so Snoopy just kind of like adopted him. I absolutely love their little relationship. And I think maybe the reason why I loved Snoopy so much as a kid is because Snoopy's alter ego is named Joe Cool, and I was just like, yeah.
Oh God.
All right, fellas, let's give it a rating. Halloweeni-ness. Shafir?
Oh, for Halloweeni-ness, to me, based purely on nostalgia, I'm giving it, I see it, I'm immediately full Halloween. Like, I'm fully in the Halloween mood set. So I go for a whole, what are we doing this? Like a 5?
Out of 10. I think
out of 10. Out of 10, I give it a 10 for Halloweeny.
I have to agree with you. It's definitely a 10. Like, even though it's not like, I feel like most people think Halloween, they think, you know, like scary, blood, gore, blah, 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 blah. But like, this very much captures like the spirit of Halloween, especially when you're a kid. And
It's
like the
just
movie makes you
childlike wonder.
yeah, and the movie
Yeah.
makes you like puts you in the mood for it. So I think it does its job. And honestly, I think it does its
100%.
job of Halloweeny better than most of the other things on this list. So yeah, 10
That's
for me
fair.
too.
All right, I agree across the board. I think it's a 10. What do we think about spookiness, fellas?
I mean, it's
not really
it's not
spooky.
spooky. It's
It's not.
peanuts.
I'm gonna
Exactly.
give it a 3 for Snoopy fantasizing about World War One.
Okay, fair.
I would personally go 1, but yeah.
I'd probably go with a 1 as well there, Sheppard.
And quality. So like just how do we feel about this movie? If you had to give this movie a rating from 1 to 10.
Oh, I would give this I'd probably give this movie like I'd probably give it like an 8 or a 9, just again out of kind of that nostalgia for the Peanuts.
I know, like it's sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think, oh yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say it's just it's a tough thing to kind of it's tough for me. Well, I'll say it's tough to rate the kind of Peanut stuff in that same kind of sense of rating a lot of other movies because they feel like they sit really in their own kind of realm. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think that they can be rated so high because like I think every single person, whether they're watching it for the first time or anything, gets that same feeling of nostalgia from Peanuts.
yeah.
I think that's just what it invokes. So I think it does that so well.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this too. I'll give my Peanuts hot take. I prefer this over Charlie Brown Christmas.
I probably agree with you.
I think so too.
Yeah, but I love a Charlie Brown Christmas. I don't want to like get that wrong, but I think it might also be because I think maybe because like Charlie Brown Christmas is the one that I've seen more because you know even if I would watch these every year on my own, you never saw Great Pumpkin in school, or at least I did, but you saw Charlie Brown Christmas almost every year. So I feel like maybe it's just because I've seen it so many more times.
Yeah, I can get that.
So what are we saying? 8, 9, 10?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, my dilemma is that, you know, and Ava and Noah give me crap for this all the time, is that whenever I watch anything, I still watch it through a critical lens, even if it's not meant to be watched through a critical lens. No, but I honestly, I don't watch Peanut, but like I never like realized it, but I just, you know, I watch it for the childlike wonderment. So I don't know. You're asking me to put like a number on something very beloved from my childhood that I have good memories of, and I'm like, you know, so my immediately like heart reaction is, oh, this is a 10. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, this movie isn't really a 10. But I can't like not give it a 10. So I don't know. Okay, fine. I'll give it a 10. I'll give it a 10.
All right.
Look, Joe, that's why I gave it an 8 because I was like, I'm having that own similar dilemma, and I was just like, 8 is still high enough for me to say yes, it's great, but at least to stand there and be like, well, I won't say it's the perfect thing.
It's not the perfect thing, but it's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
let's go in the middle and give it a 9.
Look at that.
Look at that. All right, folks, we're going to move on here to one that has kind of stuck around despite everything suggesting it should be forgettable. That's Monster House.
Monster House. Okay. I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. I watched it so many times, like all year round. I don't know why. Going back to it, I'm like, what?
Well, Joe, why don't you open this up here?
Yeah, okay. So Monster House was, I feel like I saw this movie in the theater. I want to say I did, but I don't know if I did. But I don't know what it was. I guess I must as a kid. I remember I found it like really funny. I found it a lot of fun. I thought it was like a cool idea that, oh, the house is alive. But then like you go back to it and I'm like, what acid fucking trip is this movie? The house is actually like a fat lady that's like her spirit's in it. And so is her body. And yeah, the old man, I just like get off my lawn thing like became so iconic, but was get off my lawn like a thing before this movie or not? I honestly can't remember the timeline.
I think it was a thing.
It's jumbled. Yeah. It probably was a thing, Noah. I'm just trying to prove my point here.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know, it's so weird. Like I watched this movie and it still has some weird appeal to it, but I don't know what that appeal is. Yeah, I don't know. But Monster House it's fun. It's just an iconic thing, I guess, from our childhoods now. So it's something that we have to, you know, it's something that I feel like, you know, it's a cult classic.
I think
But
you've really. Oh, sorry. I thought you.
yeah, no, and I enjoy the characters. Of like the fat blonde kid and the skinny tall dude that's like the head, and the Girl Scout girl, and you can tell I don't know their names. But they're just, it's a good movie. I really the police officers. I love the police officers. I think they're fucking hilarious. But that might not be.
I think you've really wrapped up a lot of my feelings about Monster House, which is
Yeah,
everything about this movie tells me that like I should just kind of forget it. But
and
for
it's
some
wrong.
reason, it's still like in my mind every Halloween season. I
This and
still
Monsters versus Aliens.
yeah, well, that one's bad, but this one has such a weird appeal to it, and
I know.
I don't know why, and like there's no reason why I should enjoy this movie as much as I do or think it's as good as it is, but I do.
And you know what?
Well,
Can I come out of the gate? Sorry, just like with one hot take here, Schaefer, before you go.
yeah,
Is that people give all this credit to Up for being this emotionally raw kids movie that has like this like really like heartbreaking tone to it that is like, oh my gosh, it's so real. But you know what? I argue that Monster House does this too, and Monster House did it first.
You know what? I'll give it to you.
Yeah, no, honestly, I do get what you're saying, because I do really like what I really like about this house, and if I may, I'll try and kind of elucidate why this has more staying power than you think it should.
Yes.
Just because my takeaway from it is I loved this movie as a kid as well. And it's something that I even going back to and rewatching as I've gotten older. What I really like about it is that it is a solid, succinct, succinct story. It is an easy concept to buy into for the fact that the pitch is literally the name.
Yeah.
So it's an easy world to kind of pull, like it's an easy thing to kind of buy into from the get-go. Following it up with really, really solid performances that you're getting out of the cast. And I love like the police officers, like you're saying. The one police officer being Kevin James is perfect. I love that guy. I love both of them. But like there's it's Kevin James and I think it's Nick Cannon who actually plays the other.
It is Nick Cannon.
And so like that's the thing. It's you've got a really solid premise and story that you're being taken by a really solid cast. And also, I mean, it's Robert Zemeckis. It's just hard to say no to like that Zemeckis kind of feeling. It is
True.
Zemeckis, correct? Oh yeah, it's the Image Movers, because it's actually something that I really like about it was obviously it's motion capture in the same way that it's motion capture the same way that Polar Express and the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol is. But why I think it works here versus that kind of uncanny valley that you hit in those movies is because this movie has so much style packed into it.
Yeah. It also looks worse, and that actually benefits it.
Well, that's the thing. Like it gives it that really kind of distinct feeling as you're looking at it. That's super memorable. These are character designs that I've remembered like since I first saw it as a kid. I can, if you tell me any of the characters in this movie, I can picture them clear as day in my head.
Absolutely.
I've genuinely Mr. Nevercracker, the old man is like one of my all-time favorite designs for just crotchety old man.
So good.
And what I like about it too, I have a lot apparently to say about this movie.
No, that's great.
I absolutely love that it's such a great modernization, or not even a modernization. It's a great modern monster story in the same vein of like it's a monster story almost in the same vein as your old Universal monster movies, but in a different kind of scale. And also for the fact that it's taking the classic haunted house trope of, oh, there's something in the walls, there's ghosts here, and turns it into literally it's the house. The house is like the house is almost that living being rather than there's things living inside the house. Which I think is it's one of those no-brainer, like, how did we not think of this before?
Like Kung Fu Panda.
Like Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah. Great movie.
I mean, yes, it's been a hot minute. I saw that first Kung Fu Panda in IMAX. That's besides the point, but I want that to be known. I saw that at IMAX in the like when it came out.
I
Wild.
think that's still the movie that I've seen the most in theaters, and I saw it like 3 times, and just because I kept going on school trips to see it.
Oh my. Oh
It's
dear.
pretty good. It's a pretty good movie.
hmm Um, but yeah, that's the thing with Monster House. I think it's a really solid, simple concept that's easy to buy into, that is easy to follow along, and it's nice and tight. It is a hour 30. Like it is a
Oh,
90-minute movie, which
I
is
love
just,
short movies.
dude, we need more
We need more
90-minute
hour and a half.
movies.
Oh my god, do we ever? Oh my god. Like I see a movie now, like on streaming, and it's like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm not watching that. I
That's
want
the
to
thing.
watch that. I'm not going to.
Yep. Yeah, it just absolutely.
100%. All right. What's our rating for Monster House, everyone?
I have one more
Halloweeniness.
thing to say.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, go for it.
Sure,
before we
please.
rate, which is that the 2 police officers, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I the only one that thinks that they're just the human versions of the 2 police officers from The Simpsons?
Oh, like like Chief Wiggum and oh God, why am
Not
I-
Chief Wiggum, but the other 2 guys.
Oh, Lou and the
Oh,
other guy.
Lou and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yep.
police officers, they're pretty much they're like the same build, same skin colors, like it's
Honestly, they remind me a lot of the Gravity Falls. The
I
Gravity
never
Oh,
watched
yeah.
Gravity Falls.
Oh, it's so good. You should.
It is so good.
People keep telling me, but I
It's
don't.
fantastic. You should watch it.
It actually is fantastic. It's a really solid show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my way through Cyberpunk Edge Runners right now.
Ooh, I've heard that's good. I haven't seen it yet. Anyway,
It is pretty good.
Halloweeniness. Wow, my voice just left. Halloweeniness for Monster House. What are we feeling?
I'll probably say about a 7.
I'd go for an 8 myself because it is a movie. It takes place at Halloween. Yes, it's very much that fall kind of feeling. But to me, the fact that I can watch this movie at any time, and there isn't anything in it that feels implicitly like it has to happen on Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's I would give it an 8 though, because it is still that monster kind of that spooky Halloween feeling I still get from it, but it's not like implicit. This is Halloween,
Yeah.
you know?
I think personally I lean more towards a 7 than an 8, just for the fact that I can watch it at any point, and I probably have watched it more times away from Halloween than on Halloween. And if I miss it, if I don't watch Monster House, then it's not as if Halloween hasn't happened yet. If I miss
Yeah.
Great Pumpkin, I don't celebrate. But
Yeah.
if I miss Monster House, I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna
You know
go
what?
with 7.
I'll actually say that. I'm gonna go to 7 as well. I think 7.
Now, spookiness.
Oh, I think it can get pretty spooky.
I think so
Um,
too. Some of the Mr. Nevercracker is horrifying.
Yeah, like I really like how it actually handles certain shots and whatnot, and how in your face he can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
and
the
then
one where he's over the top of the guy.
The close-ups on him too, like the iconic shot of like coming right up towards his shoulder and him just like looking over it.
Yeah.
It's so good. It gets pretty spooky, so I genuinely I'd probably give that for spookiness in context of this list. I would say probably like a 7.
I agree. And it's sort of the way I sort of mean with spookiness is, can you still get your healthy dose of scare out of it without being too overwhelmed? Because nothing on this list should be overwhelming, but if you can get a healthy dose of scare out of it, that's all that is tracking. And I think that there's some good 7 scares.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I might be inclined to give it a 7.5 just because I do remember that the third act kind of creeped me out a bit as a kid.
That is really a pretty creepy
like,
third act.
Yeah, not like it wasn't like unwatchable, but it was like it was a little unsettling. But so I think I might be like inclined to give it like a 7.5, but yeah, definitely in the same area as you guys.
All right, and quality. What are we thinking? 1
This
to
movie
10,
is
Schaefer.
surprisingly a solid 7.5.
7.5 for Joe. Schaefer, what are you thinking?
I was actually gonna say 7.75.
There you go. I was
This
also at a 7.75.
this movie's just sevens across the board.
Sevens across the board.
Wow,
Look at
we
that.
have
We hit
nothing
the
to argue
lotto.
about yet. Look at
We
this.
hit the lotto with Monster House. All right, now I think it's time to stop being friends. Scream. I'm gonna let Schaefer open this one.
Go ahead.
All right, so Scream, a classic of the slasher genre, which is a personal favorite of mine. And by classic, I mean a modern classic almost, for the fact that it comes out in 1999
And it's
after the
almost like a
whole.
parody
Am
in
I a
some
modern
ways.
classic to you?
So what it's that's besides the point, Joe.
Yes.
But that's the thing is that it's I wouldn't say it's a parody so much as it's a love letter and a metatextual. It's a meta reading of the slasher genre, as written by one of the heads of the slasher genre, or one of the kind of originators of the '80s slasher genre as we saw it. By having it be made by Wes Craven, obviously known for at that point his Nightmare on Elm Street fame, creating Freddy Krueger, creating at that point all of the good Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yes.
But actually, and that also leads into a point that I want to make, for the fact that it's Scream is very much that meta look at the slasher genre, which Wes Craven was already starting to do and already was dipping his feet into with New Nightmare, the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie up to that point, and the last one of the main series, if you want to consider it part of that main series.
Yeah.
But I really think he hits the nail on the head with Scream on how he plays with the tropes and plays into those tropes while still getting, I think, a good, fun mystery out of it. Not that the mystery is like the important thing of like, oh, who could be the killer? That's not really what you're there for, but it still adds a lot of fun to the watching of the movie, of that whole kind of like, it's that feeling of uncertainty as you're watching things happen and watching as things play out. Yeah, I mean, I love Scream. I genuinely do. Ghostface is one of my favorite slashers in the whole kind of slasher realm. He's definitely up there for me. I don't know what do you think, Sheppard? Before we get to Joe and his
I also
clear
really like Scream, and I think it comes back to is I just love that's my favorite sort of type of, well, I love slashers. I like way more than horror movies, ghost horror, anything like that. Slashers are my number one just because they're fun, right? It's just I get to watch a bunch of teenagers die in cool creative ways. So I love any movie that's sort of a love letter to it. It's the reason why I say Cabin in the Woods is my favorite horror movie. It can be argued whether or not it's a horror movie, but I love Cabin in the Woods. So Scream is very much along the same sort of vein for me. Yeah, and I sort of the way I treat Scream is if I ever have any friends who like are really, really want to get into horror, but can't quite cross that bridge, Scream is what I show them. Like that's the one where it's like, hey, these aren't always scary. Lots of times they could just be fun. And
fair
that's what I
enough.
think. That's what I
Scream
think
is your
about
entry
Scream.
horror movie. That's just interesting.
Yeah, I
I
think Scream is like a decent. Well, I feel like you should watch it as you're getting into them, and then once you've already gotten into them, you should have two different viewings of Scream.
My mom introduces people to horror with "I Know What You Did Last Summer."
oh, I
Oh,
can
fair.
get that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Joseph Delvecchia. Yeah, so I enjoy Scream, but yeah, it's just a solid slasher for me, and you know, I really like love letter slashers, especially. So it kind of it hits that note pretty good. Joseph
Mhm.
Delvecchia, tell us how much you hate it.
You want to know what I think of Scream?
I think you hate it.
If you've seen one slasher, you've seen them all. If you've seen one Scream, you've seen them all. Okay, there's nothing
this
too
is the first
exciting
one.
about these movies. There's nothing really super creative about them, in my opinion. I don't enjoy them whatsoever. I don't find them to have really too much of a plot, and the little bit that it does is not very motivating at all. Acting is subpar. I will give the movies Ghostface, however. Ghostface is a great design. It is simple, yet if I was fucking in a dark fucking alley and Ghostface was at the end of it, I'd be shitting my pants. Yeah. So I think Ghostface is really, really cool. And you know, like the blood dripping down the mask, iconic imagery, very, very spooky. I will give Scream that. But outside of that, I won't really give it anything else. I do not like the style of it. I do not like anything it has to offer. And I think that if we were going to look at a slasher that I think maybe offers a little something, I'd go to Soffers, because at least that gets a little psychological. Scream just slashery.
I'm going to be frank. I don't really consider Saw is not really a slasher. To me,
Nah.
I don't see Saw is not a slasher because it's more so that kind of, as it's been lovingly referred to, the torture porn.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But I get what you're saying with Saw, and I can also kind of get what you're saying with Scream. However, I do want to say this. First off, I mean, if you've seen one Scream, you've seen them all. Well, we're talking about the first one, so
I know. I'm
Yeah,
just saying though that like there's nothing like exciting to be offered to the genre. Like if Scream 1 can't even offer anything, and all Scream 2 does is just the same thing over again, like
well,
maybe
the
Wes
thing-
Craven should have quit while he was ahead.
well, here are some points that I kind of want to take on after that. I actually wanted to embrace some of the performances for the fact that it's really rare in a lot of slashers, just with how they're made and whatnot, to have actually kind of, and it's rare, I think, in film a lot as well too. Teenagers, teenagers that feel like teenagers that act like how a teenager might actually act, like they feel like there are some real interactions between those, like between the kids of the movie. I always remember the fountain scene, like where they've gone to school for the first day after Drew Barrymore has been murdered. Um, and so they're all sitting there and they feel weirdly real. Like I could have known all of these people in high school. I'm pretty sure I did know these people in high school. Um, and I also like the takeaways. Henry Winkler as the principal is just fun because it's always fun to
Henry
watch
Winkler
Henry
is
Winkler.
great in everything he does.
Yeah, just is. He's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and I gotta say this: what I like about Scream and about what I think that what it actually offers, is that I like what it's saying versus a lot of slashers are just. I'm looking at you later for Friday the 13th movies. It's just killing because killing's fun. Um, and then there's maybe some scares and you have the kids all on the ropes. What I like about Scream is the fact that Scream actually likes to talk about, it's not just the meta nature of like what you do in a horror movie and Jamie Kennedy's excellent rules. But I like what what it tries to do with the school and with the newspapers and whatnot is it's talking about fear mongering and paranoia and how that can affect a community as it is. I don't want to say that it hits all these points perfectly, like, oh man, like top tier, this is how you have to do it. But I do like actually I like where it goes. I like where it goes with a lot of its stuff. Some of it does feel a little too tropey in my opinion. Like the 5 seconds that Liev Schreiber is on screen to just be like, and this is the man that killed Sydney's mother. And then that's it. And it's just kind of like, all right, I get what you're trying to do to be like, of course he broke out of prison and now he's back to finish the job. And it's like, well, okay, I get what you're doing. That's like the one part of the movie that really just kind of is a swing and a miss for me. But all in all, I think it's I do think it's top tier slasher film.
All right. Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's time we rate. What do we think for Halloweeni-ness?
I'll be honest with that though. On a Halloween-y standpoint, I'd honestly go lower than Monster House with Halloween-iness for me.
I
I'd
agree.
probably go with like a 4.
I give it a 2 because this movie makes me like want to have nothing to do with Halloween.
What I find about slasher movies, I don't know if it's also the same with you guys. They're more summer movies than Halloween movies for me.
Well, no, I can get that because I mean, like, uh, wheeling back to Friday the 13th.
Yeah, like summer
But that's
camp,
the thing.
right?
Exactly. You think summer camp, you think teens, so you think school. Like it's got kind of that. A lot of them end up being like, oh, school's out, or it's spring break, or it's like we're out
Yeah.
in the woods, we're out in the yeah. I can definitely get that summer kind of feeling.
Yeah, this one's a little more Halloween-y.
My favorite
Yeah.
season is We're Out in the Woods.
Favorite season is Out in the Woods.
Yes.
Shut
It's
up,
my
Joe.
favorite season too. But no, I really got to give it a lower kind of thing because this Scream really does not it it doesn't scream Halloween to me.
I agree.
Really.
Yeah, I'm like a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I mean, I've got a slasher that I would definitely say is very Halloween-y. Perhaps
Is it
maybe peak Halloween-y.
is it Halloween?
How did you know?
I would have put Halloween, but I feel like Halloween's just a step too intense for
No,
all
I
those
can get that.
Halloweeny babies out there. I feel like
Not a
Scream is
Halloween
just a
baby.
eases. I didn't say it was just for you. This is for all Halloweeny babies.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Spookiness. What do we think?
I'm gonna
You know,
give it a 5, but that's only for Ghostface.
I actually was gonna say probably about a you know what? I'll give it a 7.
Yeah,
Because
I
yeah, like it's not a very it's not where it gets most of its like Joe says, obviously Ghostface, great design, great look for a slasher. Um he's definitely spooky. The spookiness that you get with Ghostface, the two scenes that I will always think of as like, oh, that's spooky of Ghostface is obviously the opening. The opening is just like I'll say this, the opening of the movie I think is top tier, like super well done. Because that initial phone call where it's unclear, and then he's like, I want to know who I'm looking at. And it's like, what? He's like, I want to know who I'm talking to. You didn't say that. And all that stuff I think is great. Um, and then the other scene is I love the ending when it's revealed with Billy and then it's the plot between the two of them. I'm like, oh, that's unsettling in the same way that like Norman Bates is unsettling,
yeah.
which great use of the line. We all go a little mad sometimes. But yeah, I'll give it like a 7.
Yeah, I'm around there. I'm around a 6 or a 7.
Yeah.
And quality. I feel like we're gonna have some range here.
2.
Jesus, Joe.
Because it's one of my favorite slashers, I'm gonna give it an 8.
For me, so yeah, I'm closer to you, Schaefer. I think Scream's a pretty darn good movie. It's kind of where I'm too.
Fair enough.
All right, folks. Now we're going to look at the only series I put on this list, Over the Garden Wall.
I'll be honest with you, this is the one thing I did not watch.
Oh, damn it, Joe.
Oh.
I wanted to get your
Sorry.
reactions.
I'm sorry, this is the one thing I could not
That's
watch,
fair.
okay? I didn't have the time.
Well, now I feel bad to say that I didn't watch the entirety of the series.
Nah, it's fine. I can carry this one.
Did watch the pilot. But I'll let Sheppard talk first, then I'll have my.
I adore this series. This is like fall comes when I watch Over the Garden Wall. Like this is pumpkin spice and fucking earth tones and wool sweaters in a show for me. I adore it. I think it's genuinely, some of the designs are genuinely terrifying. Like, there's one scene, they design what the actual monster looks like. And in that one, you get like one frame, and it's just fantastic. It's horrifying, it's spooky, tells a unique all these weird moments and weird just it's really great at unsettling you without using like gore or pop-ups and stuff like that. And that's why it's just pure Halloween for me.
That is absolutely fair. So from what I've seen of the show, what I've watched, watching the pilot, just honestly, I would highly recommend even just the pilot. As much Sheppard, like, I'll recommend the show. I'll even just recommend the pilot, and it's a super easy. It's 10-minute essentially commitment. And I think it's fantastic because it's immediately pulled me into this world. It's immediately made me be like, nope, I'm in. This is a story that I want to know more of. I want to explore more of this world because it really is. It's an engrossing world. Um,
Absolutely.
this unknown where all forgotten stories go, which lends itself to such fascinating ideas because it's just you can take all of that kind of classic style of storytelling and really kind of play with that. And stylistically, I love the show because to me, it feels like a modernization of the kind of rubber hose. It feels like a modernization of the rubber hose, like old Disney style and whatnot. Especially in those backgrounds that you see being so wonderfully like the wonderful painting that goes into like those backgrounds that they use. Um, and just the feeling of the characters having such a great almost unsettling feel at times. Like with the pilot having what's his name? The It's a character that is made out of he's made of vegetables with a pumpkin head and
Yes.
a
I forget his name.
it's like something crops. It's like Joe Crops, old Joe Crops or something. Or
Yeah.
John Crops. Um but he's got a great look, and then they meet all these other kind of vegetable based characters, and it's like, oh, that's all cute and whatnot. But then when you're also faced with in that same episode, you get faced with crows and vultures that are all like unsettlingly realistically designed compared to these very cartoony looking characters. It's a very weird juxtaposition that you get, which I think is wonderful. And it also it I can at least just speak to the design of the show, really, and also the performances. I really like the voice cast. I
Oh,
really like
Elijah
the
Wood
energy.
is so good.
Elijah Wood does fantastic in that, like in that role of Wirt and
Yeah,
Gregory, who are just adorable. I love them
they
both.
are. I love it.
um, but yeah, I think it's a wonderful modern animation that I can definitely get behind.
100%. I think it's time to vote. Well, Joe, you don't get a vote. You did not watch this wonderful media I put in front of you. So, Schaefer, what do you think? Halloweeni-ness.
Halloweeny. So while I have not watched the entirety of the show, I do know that it takes place in the fall, and I do am aware that there's a lot of pumpkin, there's a lot of jack-o'-lantern. It feels very Halloweeny.
It
It
is very
genuinely feels
Halloweeny.
very, very modern Halloweeny. So I would say, from what I'm aware of, I'd give this an 8 for Halloweeny.
I agree. I think this is one of the things that can be watched outside of Halloween. Like, if you miss Halloween, you can watch this in November. But,
Yep.
like, it is still very Halloween, and it's better if you watch it around that time. So I agree. I think an 8.
Yeah.
Spookiness. Um, there's some spooky things in the pilot. Personally, it gets not much spookier, but there's some things in it that are genuinely like kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
I would give it a full 9.
I was gonna say, like, even just watching the pilot, but like again, looking at what I've looked at and hearing,
Yes.
I would am not surprised by that 9. I am not surprised by that at all. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that that's great. I'm
I
always here
love
for
it.
stuff like that.
And quality as well. I love that the episodes are so bite-sized. They're all like 10 minutes and there's only 10 of them. Or I think there's only 10, there might be 12. But it's just so perfectly digestible. You can watch it all in 2 hours. It's great. And it's just a great story, and the atmosphere is great. Quality, I would give it an 8 or a 9.
That's fair. Having just watched the pilot, I would go with a 9. Genuinely, I think it was very, very well done.
So, Joseph, you need to watch Over the Garden Wall. Now that we've talked about 9s a bunch, let's talk about 9. Joe,
Oh
considering you
boy.
sat this one out, what do you think about 9?
I was shocked that this movie exists.
Okay.
Elijah Wood. I love Elijah Wood.
Absolutely.
Very postmodern, post-apocalyptic. I don't know. I don't think this is a bad movie. I don't think it's great though at the same time. I think this is Meet the Robinsons level of good, this movie.
Joe, let me throw in a little thing that I think makes what the finished product of this movie, what kind of explains all of it. This was originally a short film that they tried to extend into a feature film.
That does make a lot of sense. Yeah, the movie does have a lot of moments that it drags in between or just unnecessary times, just kind of also weird because it's a short film and usually you don't see that too often in a short film. But yeah, no, but it's a very fun, interesting concept. The whole machine uprising, definitely something that I don't know if it at this, because it came out in 2009, so I don't know if it had been done at this point or not before, or if it did, it wasn't done to death like it already is now.
Well,
But
sorry.
No, go ahead, Schaefer.
Well, I was gonna say, I think what's fascinating about this machine uprising is that it's different than how we've ever really seen it, because obviously when you say machine uprising, you want to think of like, oh, your Terminators, like this very sleek futurism. But this gives even the machines a strange kind of dingy nature of a lived-in world, which I think is what helps kind of set it apart from most of that, like most of the machine uprising stories. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's just a thought that I had that I was like, oh, I want to.
That's a fair point. But yeah, no, it's a charming little film. It has its moments. It's very much okay for me, you know? Like, I think my biggest complaint, honestly, with it is that it's a short film that feels too long because it just has these awkward moments in it that don't really fit. But overall, it's a charming little film. It's got some unique ideas. I wouldn't call it scary. It's definitely a grim and bleak idea, but I wouldn't call it scary or spooky, and it didn't really make me feel Halloween. So that's all I really have to say.
That's fair. I actually would be inclined to agree that it has a spooky atmosphere surrounding it, but the story itself isn't something that I'm implicitly like, oh, that's spooky or that's scary. The machine, I think a lot of what this movie gets out, or what sorry, words, I know how to speak them well. I think this movie gets a lot out of its design, and its world building in that sense, because it's a very aesthetically strong film. Very much like it's built on what its aesthetic is. Beyond that, I would really agree with you, Joe. Sheppard, I'm sorry I did step on you a little bit there.
No, not at all. I just gonna say I completely agree. I think it's such a strong aesthetic. It's a strong idea. Like, the design, like it's very much a full world that they've come up with, and the little sack guys are cool. Even how you can tell how they're made of different material, and like the machines. I think there's some really like that weird snake one. I find that is like pretty visually shocking.
Yes.
The story is not that great.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
It's
very much
such a good idea put in with a like paint by numbers plot.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's a great world visually. All that work is done, and man, it could make for a great short film.
And it sure does.
Did. And then
it sure did.
And then we're like, but we can make this longer, right?
They didn't need to make it longer.
No.
Hey,
This is
but
what you get when
yes,
this is what you get when you're produced by the guys who produced Wanted.
exactly. I personally have a bit of a soft spot in my heart for 9. I really enjoyed it as like a preteen, like when I was like 11 or 12. That was like a cool, edgy movie for me to like, and like it made me feel like a movie hipster. That was like one of my first ones. Was like, you guys don't know this movie exists. Of course, it has Elijah Wood in it. It's not that obscure, but I really enjoy the movie in spite of its shortcomings, but it's not a complete package.
Yeah,
That's
no, and
sort of
that
my feelings.
yeah, no, and I can absolutely get that. Like I remember watching it when I was younger. It's still to this day when I hear "Welcome Home" by Coheed and Cambria, I will always associate with this movie because it
Oh
was
yeah,
the
you could
trailer
tell it
music.
came out. You could tell it came out in 2009 because it's
Oh,
got that.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, that new metal soundtrack.
Oh, it was great. But yeah, it's specifically I remember the trailer having Coheed and Cambria, and I was just like, so to this day, I hear the opening lick to Welcome Home. I'm just like, I immediately can picture those characters. So I'll give it that. Um, but yeah, I remember watching this movie when I was a kid, and the designs have stuck in my head. But really, a lot of what the story was, I genuinely forgot until going back and kind of revisiting it. I was just like, oh right, that's what they're doing. Um, I think we've got it's. I'll say this too. Elijah Wood, I think from 2009 to whenever Over the Garden Wall came out, I think there's growth in his voice work. I'll say. Not that I think it was bad in 9, but something about it just feels like it's not quite there for me. If you know it, like I can't pinpoint it because I can't say that he sounds dead or anything, but it's just something about it just doesn't quite feel real to me.
All right, everyone. So let's give our score ratings for 9. Halloweeni-ness.
0.
I'm gonna be
Yes,
honest. Yeah, I'm gonna give it
it,
like
it
a
really has nothing to do with Halloween.
no.
Yeah,
So
no,
0.
it's a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spookiness.
1.
I'm gonna go a bit higher. Um, just honestly, when it comes down to the machine designs, um, for the fact that the cat skull one has always stuck with me,
Yeah.
as a genuine nightmare piece. Um, I spookiness, I'd probably give it though like a 3 or 4. Like it's there, it's an element that's definitely like a part of it, but I won't say that it's very defining. It's
Yeah.
more it's more I don't know, it's not spooky, it's just kind of more I don't even want to say off-putting, but if you kind of get what I mean, like it I don't even want to
Yeah.
call it emo, but you know what I mean? It's that feeling, it's that vibe.
Yeah, it's hopeless.
Hopeless. That is it. It's more hopeless than spooky.
Totally. So like a 3.
Yeah.
And quality.
6, maybe 5.5.
I was gonna say a 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm more so on 6, but I think that's a bit of nostalgia, so around that range.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want it to seem like where I'm coming out with a 5 saying like a 5 I think is a perfectly average movie.
Exactly.
It's so that's the thing. That's my takeaway. It's like this is a perfectly average kind of movie. It's not terrible. It's not anything that I would consider to be phenomenal. It's there. I won't turn it off if it's on.
There you go. That's one more can you ask for.
Yeah.
So now we come to the end of our list with, in my opinion, the best thing on the list. So you already know where my thoughts lie a little bit, but
Oh man.
Coraline.
Coraline.
Schaefer, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Why is Schaefer kicking us off?
Okay, you can kick us off if you want.
Good. I want to talk about Coraline.
Yeah, okay. You kick us
All
off.
right.
As I mentioned before, when I was younger, I did not like Coraline. But I revisited Coraline for this episode that Noah had here.
Yeah.
And while I have a bunch of thoughts, there's one that sticks out with me most importantly, like the biggest one right there at the forefront, and that's that. Why was this movie made for children?
Because
This
Henry, man.
First off, this movie is beautifully animated. Okay,
Oh,
like
well,
it's
that's-
absolutely gorgeous. It's
That's
so
what you
well
get by
done.
having Leica Studios. This is a studio that I will live and die by.
I
forever.
up until I revisited this would have told if you would have said who made Coraline, I would have told you Tim Burton. Did not realize it actually wasn't Tim Burton.
Nope.
But
But it is the director of Nightmare.
Yeah, it is the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the movie is shockingly dark, though, has these crazy undertones and themes. The freaking children ghosts are just absolutely like horrifying and just so dark. Like, I'm like, this was a movie for kids. I remember this being I remember McDonald's having like Happy Meals or something for this movie. Like,
yeah.
Like, holy fuck, this movie is not meant for children, though. Like, it is actually horrifying to like think about. Like, I can watch it and I'm not like creeped out. I'm kind of creeped out watching it, but I'm not like scared watching everything. But if you think about this movie, it is extremely fucked up.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's one. Sorry, go ahead, Shaver.
I was gonna say this is what you get by going off of a book that's inspired and adapting a book by Neil Gaiman. Like,
yeah,
dude is a phenomenal writer for this kind of stuff. In that kind of spooky realm and a world outside of your own. I've got a lot to say on that, but before I do, I back out to you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was absolutely shocked. Just like it's good. It's a good film. It's a very good film. But I was absolutely shocked that this was for kids. And I'm kind of like, I don't feel bad for not liking this movie as a kid now because I feel like it makes me sane. Like, this movie is just, it's a lot to definitely take in. But it's really got its moments. Coraline is an interesting character. The neighbor boy she hates, the one that can't talk. Yeah, he can't talk in the Wonder Woman thing. Yeah. Why does she hate him? He does nothing wrong, and she's just very mean to him the entire film.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, I'll say this. It's because it's playing on that whole, a classic of Halloween and of young adult kind of storytelling and whatnot. It's the disaffected youth that is now moved into a situation outside of what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, she's lashing out in a simple way that she can. She knows that she can. There's always kind of been my takeaway of it.
Yeah, no, I think you're right on the money there.
And that's
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of a trope in and of itself of the disaffected youth and especially the disaffected young girl. Because when I think about Coraline, I think about Lydia from like Beetlejuice and that kind of feeling. Lydia going a little bit further in one direction than Coraline, but it still feels like that same character kind of basis that you're building from, but just in a different time, in a different era, in a different story.
Yeah, no, I get that. The movie has a lot of tropes, though. It has a lot of tropes. The one that sticks out to me the most is you're in danger. Don't do this dangerous thing, but does it anyway. Love that. The character designs are creepy too. The freaking big, tall, skinny guy with the long legs and long arms.
Mr. B.
Sure. Yeah, if that's his name. The lady, the old lady that she, not old, but like the lady that she goes to about like her problems and everything, and she's like in the shower and she's got some interesting proportions. Also, what is it with every animated mom having a thick caboose? Like, what's up with that? Coraline's mom's got that going on. The movie is very gothic, like in the way not set designs, but I guess like in the way like, it's like animated and created. It's very, very gothic, which I did not notice before, but kind of have an appreciation for now. But my absolute favorite thing I want to talk about is the one moment where this movie loses me, and I'm like, this movie this movie's pretty good. It does have a lot of moments where it just kind of like butts in a bunch of exposition and then goes back into the film, which kind of bugs me a bit. But and for the most part, I was like, okay, but at least, like they're not making like excuses for something, Except when she's asked the cat, how can you talk? And he goes, I just can. And we don't talk about it ever again. Like, there's an explanation for everything else in this world except why the cat can talk.
So the thing about the cat is that my understanding of it is that the cat is a being like the beldam, but it's just a different being in that same realm. So the cat is not actually a cat when it's in the other realm. It is purely like another spiritual being there. It is not a feline.
Yeah, that would be my kind of takeaway. I mean, to me, I'm cool with like it. I get where you're coming from, Joe. I just know for myself, I'm just like, you know what? Of all the things that are happening in this movie, a talking cat is kind of the last thing that I'm really
Yeah.
like.
That's fair.
But I have to agree with like a lot of the points. Like I love the gothic feeling of this movie in how it's shot, in the design of the whole world, in doing what can almost be called like a neo-gothic style
Yeah.
in ways. But like I said before, it's Leica Studios, which is a studio that I will live and die by. I absolutely love all of the work that they've done. I was actually surprised when this list came up. I was surprised that Paranorman was not on this list, but I also understand.
Actually, you've mentioned Paranorman and Beetlejuice. They were like the final two cuts on the list that I had to make for time, but they were on the original.
Yeah.
And I included movies that were like a little less Halloween-y, like Nine, or that I wasn't
Yeah.
as sure about, like Scream, just so we'd have a bit of variety.
No, absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
Beetlejuice and Paranorman were on the list
Yeah.
originally.
Yeah. No, it's I really do think that Coraline really hits on a lot of great stuff. And it's almost in the way that I've talked about Nine being a movie with like, oh, it's got like a very distinct aesthetic, but it's kind of very shallow in that aesthetic. This is a movie that feels like its design very much works with the whole world that it's building.
Absolutely.
And it all works together really fantastically. Yeah.
You guys have covered a lot of what I like to say about it, but the one thing I just want to highlight is this movie is a master at foreshadowing.
Oh yeah.
Like it just everything, like the little comments by the characters, like YB talking about how his grandmother doesn't rent to people with kids and how she won't let him in the house. Like that's really great. But also, do you guys know the thing about the Other Father's song?
I mean, I know the song.
So there's double meanings for pretty much everything he says. I'll bring it up here because I adore my girlfriend found this when we were watching it just recently. Let's see if I can get up the ones here. So just in that one scene, he talks about how the piano plays him. He doesn't play the piano, and the piano is controlled by the other mother.
Yeah.
She's a peach. He is talking about how she's food for the beldam. She's a doll, referencing the doll that is used to spy on that the beldam uses to spy on Coraline.
Yeah.
She's a pal of mine. That's him sort of saying how he's on her side. Because like we see a couple times how he helps her and is trying, or more so just trying to make sure she doesn't get eaten. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who ever laid their eyes on Coraline. Talking about one, everybody's button eyes in that one world, but also talking about how everybody with the button eyes is like spying for her, and like they're all watching. When she comes around exploring, Mom and I will never make it boring. That's just that is just what it means. Our eyes will be on Coraline, basically talking about how they're watching her the entire time. There's also the other father asks who's starving, raise your hand, and the piano raises its hands. But the beldam, of course, is the one controlling the piano, not him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's just some great foreshadowing, and that's just one little tiny bit of this movie.
Yeah. Huh.
I just think Coraline is absolutely fantastic, top to tail.
Yeah, no, that is interesting and very, very cool and very well thought out.
Yeah.
That's I think the thing that I find so good about the movies. Like every single decision is thought out, and you can tell. Except for maybe the cat, but you know what I mean. Like everything is done deliberately.
Well, that's the thing. Even though that kind of makes the cat feel almost more integral to everything by everything having that explanation, except for the cat. So by him not having a succinct explanation, it almost makes him feel like something that you're supposed to focus on in a way, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
But we're talking about
I
Neil
think it's
Gaiman.
fantastic.
We're talking about at least the original story. Neil Gaiman, dude knows what he's talking about, and the adaptation does a very solid job with it.
So, folks, what are we thinking? Halloween-ies.
This is definitely creepy and scary. I give it a 9.
So, I'll say this: it's creepy, scary, so it'll get a high spookiness from me. This is a movie that I could watch outside of Halloween and not feel like I've missed out in the same way that we talked about other things
That's
before.
fair.
I would give this probably like I give it a 4 for Halloween-ies.
I normally go a bit higher for this. I would give it around the same thing as Monster House, so I would give it a 7 personally.
Fair.
But spookiness, I think it's a full 10.
I honestly, you know what? I'd agree. I'd give it that 10.
Like, it's such a great example of age-appropriate horror.
Yes.
Like, anybody can step in, watch that movie, and be horrified.
Oh, absolutely. It is a phenomenal all-ages horror film.
Joseph?
I'm thinking about this one. It's I don't know, it's hard for me. Like, yeah, it's creepy and it definitely makes me think like this is not appropriate for kids and makes you want to give it something really, really high. But at the same time, you know, it makes for good conversation, but I don't know if it makes for good like horror, if you know what I mean. I'll give it an 8. I think that's a fair number. Maybe a bit higher than it would deserve, but I feel comfortable giving it an 8.
I give it a full 10 personally.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Sheppard. I'm giving it a full
10. And quality. I also got to give it a full 10. Like, I just rewatched this for the first time in a couple of years this year, and I was just blown away at how great this movie is. How it's written, how it looks, how just... legitimately, I would go to the bank saying one of the greatest animated movies.
That's fair.
At least Western animated.
Yeah. You know, for this, I'm gonna go with a 4. I'm gonna go with a 9. I think it is a pretty damn good movie. Yeah. I mean, the small things that I may say are just like small things that I would say are mainly on, I'd almost say like a studio's kind of finding its footing.
Yeah.
So just like little awkward bits to how it's animated, some awkward bits of design and how the world feels, but like still, it's a 9. Like when I say small things, I mean like this is nitpicky, like
absolutely
nitpicky little things. So I think it's phenomenal.
And Joe, you said 7.5?
Yeah, but we talk about more. I'm gonna go an 8. 8's gonna be my final.
Sounds good, folks. Well, that is the list of the big the big Halloween list for Halloweenies. Joe, did you have fun? Did you have fun watching these movies?
I did have fun, Noah. For the most part, I had fun.
And did it get you in the Halloween spirit?
A little bit, you know. Yeah, definitely a little bit. I don't know. we're sick over here right now, so Halloween's kind of like are we even going to do
Same
anything
here.
sort of thing. So it was nice to like kind of revisit some old things and then also discover some new things. And yeah, really the only thing I regret is Scream.
That's a good thing to regret. If that's the only regret I have in life, then I'll be okay. Schaefer, did you have fun?
I had a great time. I was already embodying the Halloween spirit beforehand, and then being able to kind of have these things to revisit. A lot of these were some things that I haven't visited for a while, or were totally new to me. Like by watching that, like Over the Garden Wall, completely new to me, and that's introduced me to a whole new thing that I want to dive into. And yeah,
Yeah, it's
revisiting
fantastic.
things that I hadn't visited in years. Like, I thought it was great. I had a wonderful time, and I thank you very much, Sheppard, for curating this list.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed watching some movies, and I'm glad you enjoyed talking about some movies. Joe, I don't know any of the extra stuff, so you can take over from here, buddy.
Oh, you can take over the whole fucking episode, but when it comes to the end, I got to take care of it. Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
no, you do.
I just want to say my own quick piece. I'm
Yes.
excited for when I get to curate a list of
Ooh.
Halloween-y movies for not Halloween-y babies, and
That would
if
be
you want to be
fantastic.
actually scared.
You want
That would
you
be
want you want the
Make
2023
Joe-
Halloween episode?
I'll
Make
take the
Joe watch
2023
Hereditary.
Okay, Noah
Ooh.
Shafir. I've watched Hereditary.
Oh,
No,
well,
it's Midsummer. I've watched. Sorry, it's Midsummer. I haven't watched Hereditary.
Make
I've watched
Joe watch
Midsummer.
Hereditary.
all right.
Joe watched
all right.
Midsummer thinking it was a coming of age.
Joe was so wrong.
Yeah.
She gasses her parents in the first.
I know what happens in the fucking film, Noah.
I turned it off after the
realized I
opening
was
scene,
wrong.
so.
But it's Florence Pugh, and she's great. Okay, she's
She is.
absolutely fantastic actress.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Halloween 2023, Noah Shafir, curated list, Halloweeny movies for not Halloweeny babies.
But let's talk about what's closer in the future, shall we, Noah?
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're doing next month. I'll be real.
Me either.
But we're going to be back next month with another episode. And then the end of the year is coming up fast. And I'd like to personally on air extend an invitation to Noah Shafir to come back at the end of the year for our season 4 finale. Because before we hit our 5th year, our big 5th anniversary, I do have a very, very exciting thing planned that I would love for you to come on and be a part of. You know, everyone who's kind of been a part of the show for the first 5 years. Well, almost everyone. That's an inside joke for everyone on this panel.
Oh dear.
But yeah, no, we're going to be doing a very fun, as we know, we like to end off the year with a Q&A and a quiz. So we'll do our usual Q&A, and this year's quiz is going to be a really fun. It's going to be movie trivia that only Joe would really know.
Oh, good.
So I'm really going to put
great.
you guys through the ringer with some things.
Hey, who's
Great.
excited for 15 questions in a row about Breakfast Club?
No, I mean, like, it'll be...
He's going to throw in some Zack Schneider's Watchmen.
Fucking hell.
And I'll get them all perfect.
I mean, like, they're gonna be questions that like relate to things in pop culture that like I know, like, you know, it's gonna be more tailored towards like my interests and like some obscure things that only I would know. I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna teach you guys some new things, and I really am excited to see the answers you try and come up with.
Really?
Is the answer robotics conference in Texas?
Yeah.
I'll kick you out of this fucking Google Meet. Anyways, we'll then return in January to break down Oscar nominations. February will be something else. And March will, of course, be our annual Oscars episode, where who knows what's going to happen this year. Honestly, the lineups are whack, and apparently Amsterdam is god-awful, which breaks my heart. But I'm here for Babylon this year. Babylon. Been waiting for that movie for 3 years. Nobody cares.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Damien Chazelle, he made La La Land. Babylon's his next thing.
Right. Yes, I did see. I saw the trailer for that, and
Wow,
actually,
so good.
the minute I saw Damien Chazelle, I was like, "All right, cool. I'm sold. I'm already in."
Exactly. Noah, you liked Whiplash, right, Sheppard?
I haven't seen it yet. I've been meaning to watch it.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, I've been meaning to watch it forever. I love J.K. Simmons, so I'm sure I will love it. But yeah.
You will. It's amazing. Anyhow, This has been another exciting and spooky episode of 21st Century Cinema. Noah Shafir, I want to thank you so much for coming on and being our guest. It's always a pleasure when we get our two Noahs together and realize that they're probably actually just one Noah. Some sort of doppelganger going on there. But why don't
Noah
you...
divided by time.
Yes, divided by time. Apparently many
earlier.
years, according to Joe.
Yes, by many, many years, Noah. You're the young one. I don't know why you're fucking complaining.
I don't like you doing my boy Schaefer like that.
Oh God. He's my boy Schaefer, okay? He's your boy Schaefer by extension. Proxy. There you go. Thank you. Noah Shafir, tell the people at home what you're up to.
What I'm up to? Well, if you ever want to find me and you're ever curious about hearing my voice a little bit more, and you like storytelling, which I would hope you do if you like movies. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, I am part of a storytelling collective called the Imperfect Librarians. And we do a show every Monday live at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry about that, Sheppard. In which we use an AI. There's a show called AI Dungeon Crawlers. We use an AI to come up with a story live, as we have live music, voice acting, art that I do along to it. It's a great, fun old time. You can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/imperfectlibrarians. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com, AI Dungeon Crawlers. Yeah, we've got Patreon. If you want to find us, I'm sure the links will be somewhere.
As long as you send them to me. Yep, they'll be down below in the show notes.
Woo.
But yeah, that's really what I'm doing if you ever want to see more of me or hear more of me.
Noah Sheppard, what are you doing these days?
I am currently working from home because my workplace has a COVID policy that if I have symptoms, I cannot come in. So, but normally you can hear me on 590 VOCM. You can hear me from Sundays to Thursdays, in the afternoons and evenings, mostly in the evenings now. So, but I always have my show, the 5:00 major newscast, the VOCM's Day in Review. You can find us at vocm.com as well. It's a bit of an off season right now, so I don't have much theater stuff currently scheduled until around May, but I will be back with Shakespeare by the Sea for their 2023 festival, where I will be directing a show all by myself. And that's a big boy theater company, and I'm a big boy now. So there you go.
Aw, how fancy. What are you directing, do you know?
I don't know yet. I think we're not quite sure where we're taking it, but last year I was the assistant director on Coriolanus.
Ooh.
Yes.
If you ever do a Midsummer's Night Dream, Noah Shafir will fly down there and recite the whole play for you.
It's a great...
Okay, all right. It is
True or false? Noah Shafir can recite almost all of A Midsummer's Night Dream.
I'm neither confirming nor denying that.
Yeah, that's what I fucking thought. And if you're interested, of course, in seeing what I'm up to, I'm on TikTok at Who Killed the Peacemaker. That's where I'm making a bunch of fun videos about comics, mainly Watchmen. Me and Noah Shafir teamed up for a fun little video last week. I had a blast doing that with you, buddy. That's what I'm doing in my free time besides this podcast. Professionally, I'm still doing some work with Capcan Comics, so you can always check us out on social media right there. And in my other personal life, I'm working as a content marketer now for a marketing firm, and you don't really care about that. Let's be real.
No.
Otherwise, though, fuck you, Noah.
I care.
I'm about to switch which Noah is in my wedding party, okay? Just so we're aware.
Hey. It's not very
Kidding.
Oh,
I love you both.
well.
I love you both.
He just loves one more than the other.
This is awkward now. No, I do. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my gosh. If you want to follow the show, we are on Instagram at 21st Century Cinema. We're on Twitter at TFCC Podcast. You can find us on Facebook using both of those handles. You can also check out the show's Patreon, patreon.com/TFCC. And there you can support the show monthly and join our other two monthly supporters in helping making this show happen and make it possible. If you're looking to support us in another way and don't want to go month to month, we do always have merch available, tpublic.com/21st Century Cinema. Link is also down below. We have a lot of really great pieces that have been with the show since the beginning. We've had pieces over the last 4 years. 2 of them are done by Noah Shafir himself. One of them is our special DC art that he has done for us, which we really appreciate. And the other one is this absolutely amazing best-selling design of ours called Shut Up Joe that he made, which Noah Shafir showed up to this podcast dressed in his Shut Up Joe shirt with his Shut Up Joe magnet and button sitting beside him. He's just missing the mug with a cup of tea. So yeah, we've got tons of great designs on there, some even created by Noah Sheppard, and we need to get Noah Shafir to also do us some new stuff, which we're going to talk about that soon, Noah, because I did mention the 5th anniversary of the podcast is coming up, so we might be doing a little something for that.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm always happy to.
But outside of all that, if you really want to get in touch with us on our socials, we really encourage it. You can send us all your questions there. Like I said, we've got an upcoming Q&A, and if you've got something really long, we accept emails at shepherdnoah13@gmail.com. You can send us an email there.
Don't give out that one.
And if you send us an email there, we'll be more than happy to get back to you. We'll have our official email bitch boy email you back. No, you're just coughing. I thought you had something mean to say.
No.
All in all, once again, thank you all for listening to 21st Century Cinema. It's always a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you so much for sticking with this show and our terrible, terrible commitment to a release schedule. And we will see you all next month. Take care now.